Hi, I'm Mike from the Crafty Gentleman, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can make a simple piece of layered wooden wall art just like this one. Now, as you can see, I've gone down a very kind of geometric mid-century kind of look, but if this is not your style, you can customize this however you want. You can either go very abstract like I have, or you can go a lot more literal, so you could cut out a specific shape like a flower or a leaf. The basic process is exactly the same no matter what design you want to do. Now, before I jump into the video, I just wanted to quickly highlight that there is a blog post that accompanies this video with a lot more specific tutorial steps and a list of all the supplies and tools that you're going to need to make this. So I do recommend that once you finish watching this video, you go and check out that blog post. I'll link it down below in the description box so you can find it very easily. But for now, let's get on with the video.
Okay, so once you've decided on the design for your layered wall art, the first step is to sketch it out onto some wood. Now I'm using 2 centimeter thick plywood here that I had left over from a previous project, but of course you can use any wood that you have to hand. Different thicknesses of ply are pretty good. I quite like the striped layered effect on the side of plywood, but you could also use the likes of chipboard or just whatever you've got to hand really. So use a ruler just to draw out all of those sections and then use a jigsaw to cut them out very, very carefully. Now if you're a beginner to woodworking, it's best to try and keep to straight lines and just clean angles because it's much easier to cut with the jigsaw. But if you're a little bit more confident, you can introduce some curves and some circles as well. Just be very, very careful. So once you've cut them out, it's a good idea just to lay them on top of each other and mimic your design just to make sure it's all looking good. If anything needs cutting down a little bit further or adding, then now's the time to do that. Once you're happy with your design, then take an electric sander and fit it with a high grit sandpaper and just smooth down all of the edges of your pieces. So start with a high grit, as I say, but slowly work your way down to a fine grit so you get a nice smooth finish on all of the edges and sides of the project pieces. And then also sand the top surface, the front surface as well. This is going to give a really nice, smooth, sleek finish and also will make it a lot easier and neater to paint onto in the next step if you want to do that. So just work your way across all of the surfaces and all of the edges. Then if you want to, you can paint them as well. I quite like the idea of adding a pop of colour onto some of the pieces. Of course you can paint all of them if you want to, or you could leave them all completely blank. You could varnish them, you could stain them. There's lots of different ways that you could finish off the wood here. I chose to just paint the front pieces of mine and leave the back piece as the raw, unfinished wood. So once you've painted the pieces, then lay up the first 2 pieces on top of each other like I have and turn them upside down. Then make a few crosses where the 2 pieces overlap. So you can see how that piece overlapped and I made 2 crosses. And then repeat that with all of the other pieces, working your way from the front of the project through to the back. So you can see I've just flipped that piece over and I'm making 2 crosses where that front piece overlaps with that long grey piece. Once you've done that for all of your pieces, then drill some screws into the back of the piece and just drill that or screw that all the way through so it joins the 2 pieces together. However, make sure that you don't pierce it right the way through to the front face. You do not want these screws to come out the very front. You want them to go right the way through the back piece and about halfway through that front piece so that it holds it in place without poking out of the front, because of course you don't want to have visible screws in your finished project. So to add these screws, all you need to do is just make a pilot hole with a drill that's a little bit thinner than the screw that you're going to add. Then just screw the actual screw in through that pilot hole and that should feed through quite tightly and hold these pieces in place. Now if you work your way through all of these pieces, again starting from the front and working your way back, so you can see here I'm adding those 3 front pieces, the 2 blue pieces and the white piece to the grey, and now I'm adding the very final back piece, so this large unfinished wooden rectangle at the back. And once you've connected them all, then you've finished your project.
Okay, so I hope that tutorial was useful and it's hopefully inspired you to give this project a go yourself. Now, as I mentioned at the start, there is a blog post that accompanies this video with the full step-by-step instructions on how to make this and the full list of supplies and tools that you'll need. It goes into a lot more detail than this video, so I do recommend that you go and have a look at that. It's in the description box below. You can just click straight over and have a look. And of course, while you're here, please do like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be really starting to put out a lot more crafty and DIY videos over the coming weeks and months, so please do stick around and I hope you'll enjoy them as well. Happy crafting!